Hello everyone, welcome to the Week in Nintendo Land, the podcast that's bursting at the seams with all the latest Nintendo news. I'm Alex Boltwood, and in this episode, we're going to be aiming our sights at two of the biggest shooters on the Switch, Doom Eternal, which is out this week, and Fortnite, which has just kicked off its 5th season from Chapter 2. Plus, we're going to be passing judgment on all your gamer confessions and seeing if you deserve absolution or eternal damnation. I'm joined, as always, by two saints from the Switch player team, Anna and Nathan.
Hey!
Yes, hello, my child.
And rounding out our pod squad, we have games journalist Maheen Kasoor. Maheen, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Glad to have you.
So you're a games journalist. What kind of sites have you written for? What are you working on at the moment?
Yes, I am. I've written for Tech Radar, Games Radar, official PlayStation magazine. I've written for you guys, Switch Player magazine. Nice. It's hard to list all these things without getting a big ego about myself, but it helps. I also stream on Twitch, and I'm hoping to have a radio show with Soho Radio pretty soon. So
amazing,
I'm doing bits here, there, and everywhere.
What kind of radio show? Gaming related?
About
or?
yeah. About video games, video game music. It will basically be something similar to this. So this is good practice.
We'll just name drop us from time to time, and we'll be happy.
Oh yeah, of course.
Just try to remember us, little guys.
Right, so we are here to talk about the Nintendo news. So let's have a little recap before we start of everything that's been happening this week in Nintendo Land.
Doom Eternal is finally out on the Nintendo Switch this week. The port, handled by developers Panic Button, is only available digitally, but takes full advantage of the Switch hardware, utilising gyroscopic controls. So what better way to get into the festive spirit than blasting your way through hordes from hell? After a big showdown with Galactus capped off the Marvel event, Chapter 2 Season 5 of Fortnite launched on Wednesday, which sees Agent Jones enlist the greatest hunters from across multiple realities to help deal with the 0 points. This includes the Mandalorian and famous gaming icons like Kratos, but there's even rumours that a famous Nintendo character might show up in the game soon.
So just when you thought the Switch had no major releases left in 2020, along comes Doom Eternal. It's out this week, a mere 9 months after its current gen counterparts, but will it be worth the wait, do you think?
Oh, I mean,
tough question.
I've got the 2016 Doom port for Switch, and it is up there with The Witcher 3 in terms of absolute magic ports. It feels incredible. I love having pointer controls. It still looks really good, even though it's very clearly compressed. So, and it's the same studio. Is it Panic Button or is
Panic
it
Button? Yeah,
Panic Button. The poor people who made Sonic Boom. But now they make great ports. They're great. But yeah, man, I've got a lot of confidence, and some of the screenshots look fantastic. I don't know if I'll pick it up because I'm not flowing with cash right now, and I don't want to spend 50 quid in a game I could maybe get for 15, 20 quid, or even cheaper if I had Game Pass.
Yes, I have it on Game Pass, so I recently got it, and yeah, it's on there. And I'm not really gonna play it because I'm too much of a wimpy person. I'm even scared of Doom. So, but whenever I hear stuff like this happening, actually, to be fair, any piece of news that I hear, I always think to myself, so how does this relate to Smash? And so, it's coming out on the 8th. The Game Awards are on the 10th. The next thing we're going to talk about, coincidentally, is something that I can personally tie into Smash. I try and make everything Nintendo related into Smash. So fingers crossed, who knows, maybe even at the Game Awards, Doomslayer for Smash.
We're due a new Smash fighter. We definitely are. We've still got 4 more to go. Poor Sakurai.
Yeah, he probably just wants to end it. He just wants the next game out, surely. He just wants to make a new Smash.
He probably wants to make anything but Smash Brothers now.
Yeah. Just move on.
Hopefully one day we get another Kid Icarus game, or they just port that incredible game back to Switch.
Yeah, Uprising wasn't bad. Why was that the only thing we saw and it just disappeared from the face of the earth? Sorry to sidetrack from the topic, but yes, we need a new Kid Icarus. Kid Icarus Uprising is a great DS pick if you haven't picked it up. It's really action-packed and funny.
Playing So I've been playing a little bit of Immortals Phoenix Rising this week, and that tries to do a very similar like voiceover narrative. It's how like the story is told to you through conversations between Zeus and Prometheus, and it's very much like reminiscent of Kid Icarus, but not as good. Which is fine. That game is a Nintendo game, but not as good. It's Breath of the Wild, but not as good. And but hey, those are like 10 out of 10 games. This is fine. If Immortals is an 8 out of 10 game aping Nintendo, that's fine. But I mean, yeah. In terms of Doom, though, I really wish I had a better reason to pick it up, man. Like, I think the Game Pass thing, it's coming to Game Pass like a few days before or after it's released on the Switch, which is just like devaluing for Switch owners. Like, you suddenly, how can you look at, if the RRP is 50 quid, how can you look at that and be like, yeah, 100%. Only people who only have a Switch will get this now, as opposed to a lot of people dipped in with a lot of Switch ports because it's just, it's convenient. But when it's that much more money, I find it hard to balance having it handheld for another 30 quid, possibly, you know?
I think it's already on Game Pass. I was playing it today, and when I think the offer's still on. If you're new to Game Pass, you can get it for £1. So you could play Doom Eternal for like for a pound.
That's even worse.
Yeah, that really does devalue it for Switch owners. I'm personally not into shooters, so it's not really going to be something I would drop more than $1 on. But I would consider trying it, and if I got Game Pass, that's probably how I would play it. So yeah, not the best timing.
No, it's a shame.
Do you think it was a bit too late? Because it's been 9 months since the game came out for Xbox One, PlayStation 4. And I guess if it would have come out on Switch maybe a couple of months afterwards, and they would have told everyone about that, people would have hung on and waited to buy the Switch version. Because it's been 9 months and it's kind of come out of nowhere. We heard that it's going to be digital download only from the eShop a couple of weeks ago, maybe. And then it just suddenly it was surprise. It's coming out on the 8th. So
How many Switch owners who are interested in Doom don't already have Steam or Xbox or PlayStation or some, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know that not all Switch owners have PCs, but the Switch owners who are interested in Doom Eternal probably also have Steam and stuff. So they've probably already had an opportunity to get their hands on it in some way.
This is what makes me think that maybe they're trying to just push it out quickly in time for the Game Awards, in time for Doomslayer and Smash.
It's all a conspiracy.
I mean, Doomslayer is definitely going to be in Fall Guys, so there's that.
Oh, I think I did see that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, that or the teasing something mental, but like both the Doom account and the Fall Guys account has like heavily hinted at a Doom thing. But hey, if we get Fall Guys on Switch eventually, which I'm sure we will, that will have Doom Guy in some way as well. You know, that's a roundabout way.
So you can play Doom on multiple games. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
I think they've tried to entice players because I think they said if you buy Doom Eternal before December the 22nd, you get both like Doom 64 and like a Doom Eternal Rip and Tear pack as like an early purchase bonus. But I don't know if that's going to be enough to kind of tempt people in.
I already bought Doom 64. They reduced it to like 3 quid or 2 quid at one point. Like, I've already got all of the Doom games on my Switch because they keep drastically reducing them in price to the point where I can't ignore them. So it is too little too late for me personally. That pre-order bonus doesn't mean anything. Like, I don't know what the Rip and Tear pack means.
Neither do I, to be honest. I didn't do that much research, but I didn't. From the look of it, it's kind of like new skins, a couple of exclusive weapons, nothing kind of that you like. Wow, I have to get it on the Nintendo Switch. And I guess the only thing, the thing they're kind of shouting about is like the gyro controls. That's all integrated into the Switch, but I don't know if that's enough to make me want to go. Yeah, I'm definitely going to get it on the Switch now. Yeah,
I love gyro, but that's 30 quid or maybe 50 quid for motion controls when I'm all right.
Yeah. And I'm looking around as well because it's Christmas. That it's even if you haven't got a Game Pass, it's available for all the consoles at pretty much like 15 quid, kind of $20. So it's, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like that much of a deal. I think it's not going to do that well, really.
Yeah, man, it's a shame. I think if it,
Yeah, I have the rip and tear pack up here. This is Microsoft on the Microsoft store, but it should be the same stuff, right?
yeah, probably.
It includes Revenant player skin to use in battle mode, cultist base but master level, and throwback shotgun weapon skin.
Yeah, it's not really doing it for me.
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm glad fans who have maybe got into it through the port of Doom 2016 have got an opportunity. But yeah, I loved Doom 2016 on my Switch. It's the only way I've played it, and I played through all of it, and I didn't think I'd enjoy it as much as I did, especially with the gyro controls. So I really wanted to get this, but it's been a tough year and people haven't got that much money. So
Yeah.
for me this year, this sort of port I can't throw my money at.
There's like so many reasons to put it on the back burner.
Yeah.
Not because it's a bad game, just the circumstances.
Yeah, that's the thing, is it looks incredible. I want to play this game, but I there's still a couple of like Nintendo games I want to pick up and stuff. Like if I'm gonna get this game, I'm gonna pay a tenner for it and play it on my PS4. But people have only got a Switch. I'm happy this is here. I just don't think it should be 50 quid when you can look around and get it for basically free or very cheap. It's tough to sell that, which is a shame because obviously the people who ported it deserve to be paid. And that is not a thing that should be forgotten either. I'm not one of those people who's just like, well, the game's already been made. You've just put it on Switch. And it's like, no, a lot of work goes into like fitting these things to the different ecosystems of the PS4 framework and like the Switch framework. So it's not like copy and paste, add gyro, bang in, day done. Like a lot of work goes into this. And like we said, Panic Button are incredible, but sorry guys. I wish I could support this. And like I said, like if it was 30 quid, I'd think about it. If it was physical and 30 quid, I'd think about it. But 50 for digital, nah, I'm out. No way. Sorry.
Yeah, I think physical also is again, circumstances, huge factor. Because if I were remotely interested, I would want it in physical. I'm huge into having my favorite games in physical.
Especially a big game like this.
Yeah, I would want that little red thing on my bookshelf. So
for me personally, like I'm a Nintendo fan for a reason. I don't really want to be chainsawing demons from hell with blood everywhere. Like I'm too much of a wimp for stuff like that.
But you want Doom Slayer and Smash?
Yeah, because they'll tone it down. They'll PG it for me.
Yeah, it'd be cutesy, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw an article today saying Yakuza, the creator of Yakuza thinks that, I just read the headline, thinks that Nintendo consoles are more for kids and that's why they're not on. And I was like, shh, nobody talk about, no, don't say that.
I saw the article. I think the headline was Yakuza creator says Nintendo consoles are made for teenagers and children.
Yes.
And he's right. Nintendo consoles are toys made for children. He's right.
But that doesn't mean that adults can't enjoy them.
Exactly.
Here we are.
Like if Willy Wonka makes the best sweets in the world, I'm 31. I'm still going to eat them. Like it doesn't matter who it's for. If it's good, it's good. And, us as adults enjoy it for our own reasons,
And that's exactly what non-gamers say about everyone that plays games, even if there are like 18 plus games.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
True, yeah.
Exactly. Even if it's Call of Duty, they're just like, still playing your baby game, are you? And it's like, actually, it's an 18 plus, mum.
Down. I'm an old man, so I like watch daytime TV, and I was watching Good Morning. I think I was watching Lorraine or something, and then this side presenter came on, and they had a whole segment about how it's really hard to get a PS5, and they were talking about what the best things are to do to get a PS5, and they just had no clue what they were on about, and they were just like, if you want to get one for your kids, and they kept highlighting the fact that they think it was for kids, and like, oh, kids shouldn't have a £500 machine for Christmas. They're lucky they're getting anything.
Wow.
Yeah, it's dad who wants it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the kids need it. They need it for Christmas.
My 5-year-old really wants to play Demon's Souls. He's a big fan of the series.
He's really excited about that haptic feedback on the DualSense. He's really excited. But so talking about kind of other Nintendo games, you say like this is maybe one it's going to get lost in all the other Nintendo games that everyone's going to pick up. What's everyone been playing in the past couple of weeks and looking forward to playing before Christmas?
It's talked about Immortals.
So
Immortals is it Breath of the Wild light basically, or is that doing it a disservice?
There's nothing wrong with it being informed by Breath of the Wild because that is mechanically the best game ever made. and it has changed open world games in a way that they needed to be changed, to be perfectly honest. So I've got no problem any game being like, all right, you can climb anything. I don't think that's copy. I think that's progress. In the same way that like after Mario 64 came out, someone else making a 3D platformer wasn't like, whoa, why are you copying Mario going 3D?
And I would even
It's
go
like,
so far as to say that gliding is not copying as well.
yeah, no,
Like,
Really?
I would go that far. Like, I think gliding and climbing are not like copy pasting. Maybe the way it was executed, but
yeah, they put gliding in Dragon Quest Builders too. Like they put it in loads of things. I think this is just a good way to open up open world games, which have become a little bit too boring for me. I feel after Breath of the Wild, I couldn't play any for a year, and I felt really bad because I bought Horizon Zero Dawn, and I was like, that game's terrible, and it's not. I just played it after Breath of the Wild, which is really unfair to it. But I keep going to call it Gods and Monsters, but that's not what it's called, unfortunately. Immortals Phoenix Rising is a really fun 7 out of 10 game, and that's good. 7 out of 10 is, there's 6 things before 7. 7 is good. But you know, when you say 7 and people are just like, oh, I think it's a 10 out of 10 because I played it when I was 6 and enjoyed it. Like, there's nothing wrong with a 7 out of 10 game. Nothing wrong with one. I love the Beautiful Joe games. They're like 8 out of 10, but they just do it well. And I think the Switch port of Immortals is a little bit chugging in terms of frame rate. The draw distance is quite bad, but they've kept the action quite sharp, and it is almost at a locked 30 frames per second after a day one patch. So, and they've said they're going to have further stability updates. And in terms of the open world, and I think it's great. I think the combat's really fun. I think the puzzles are really fun. I think it's almost adding a couple of things that Zelda Breath of the Wild didn't do. Like when you have your arrow, you can choose to just shoot your arrow in a regular way, or you can use this special type of arrow, which is very reminiscent of the beetle from Skyward Sword. You know, when you like through the beetle, and then with motion controls, you could like move the beetle around.
Right.
So you can do that with your arrow in Immortals Phoenix Rising, and you have to use that to solve puzzles, which is awesome. And then immediately I was like, why didn't Breath of the Wild do this? So like, they've definitely just looked at a whole load of Zelda games, because I mean that's just ripped out of a different one. Even like you can pick up rocks and different items, and it just looks like the Magnesis Man. Like they've really gone to town with the whole like
shameless kind of.
It is.
I saw that one's pretty shameless.
Yeah, and like I was solving a puzzle today where there was a load of holes in the ground, and you have to put orbs in them to match the kind of constellation on the wall in front of you, which is obviously
that's exactly like one of the shrines.
Yeah, one of the shrines.
Two of the shrines.
Yes, you're
Dueling
right.
Peaks ones. I've played Breath of the Wild 4 times. It's the two, like the top of the Dueling Peaks. Like,
I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, and
you
I
have
was
to
like,
match the wall on the up. Yes.
yeah,
They have that in Immortals. Oh my god.
literally, exactly. But
See, that's not forgivable.
Yeah,
I will give them the credit that getting the orbs was very different. So the actual like putting the orbs in the position wasn't the puzzle. It was how you got the orbs, and each orb was in a different part of this small island and needed a puzzle to be solved to get them. So it was really shamelessly copying, but they clearly in their heads were like, how would we expand on that? And I did like that. Like at the moment, I'm going between Immortals and Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, and there's a bit in my brain that's just going, instead of these two games, you could just be playing Breath of the Wild and be having a lot more fun, which is unfair because these are two different games doing very different things. And if you ever get compared to a masterpiece, you haven't got much hope. You know,
He's right,
like it's not fair. And I invite other games to look at Breath of the Wild and evolve the open world formula. And I'm really happy this exists. I think it's a really fun game. I think it's really good for people that maybe had Breath of the Wild, own a Switch, and haven't been able to play other Ubisoft games. Like they haven't been able to play other Assassin's Creed games. They haven't got Watch Dogs. Like this is one of the only other big open world games on Switch now. And the fact that it's so heavily focused on Breath of the Wild's aspects is only a good thing for Switch owners. Like I'm really happy this game's on Switch. I think the port's pretty admirable, and it's clearly only going to get better. And I think it's probably a really fun, kind of mindless holiday game just to sit back, do a few trials. They're called like, what are they called in this? It's so shameless, but it's still done well and it's fun. Like
Mindless, shameless. Buy it, 2020.
Hey, I'm happy this game exists and I'm having fun with it. The writing's really good. The enemies are fun. I like the basis on Greek mythology, and the DLC is going to focus on Chinese mythology as well. So
yes.
I'm like, it's really funny how it just rips the mick out of Zeus, who obviously famously in all of like Greek mythology, it's just horrible. It's just every story about Zeus is him going to Earth, like having sex with someone and then lying about it and then ruining people's lives. And this game heavily leans into how awful Zeus was in a really funny way. So if you've ever like had an interest in Greek mythology, this game's really funny. And it is anyway, but like it's clearly riffing on that. So like, yeah, it is a little bit mindless and it is a little bit shameless, but I think this is a very good 7 out of 10 game. And I think if people are interested, they'll be pleasantly surprised.
You've left me with mixed emotions.
When it comes to games that are similar to Breath of the Wild, like Genshin Impact or whatever, it's like when you're a kid. I'm not that I personally ever did this, but when you copy someone's homework, like you try and make it a bit different at least.
Don't make it too obvious.
Yeah, don't make it too obvious. But then, but then they like it even looks in the art style similar. And I remember playing Genshin Impact, and for a split second, I was like, okay, let me try and not think of Breath of the Wild while playing this. And I had fun for a while, and then I bumped into an enemy which looked exactly like a choo-choo blob thing. And I was just like, oh, well, there's Breath of the Wild again. It's like, just make it like, fair enough, Breath of the Wild's a good game, and like you wanted to copy it and make your own, but at least make it look a bit different, like change your homework a little bit.
And I know exactly the enemy you mean in Genshin Impact as
well. Yeah.
Like, I have been really struggling with the muscle memory of the controls on Immortals because my brain's trying to play Breath of the Wild. So, like, but the attack buttons are on R and ZR for strong attack, which I think is very similar to Assassin's Creed. I've heard, I haven't played Valhalla, but I've heard people make the comparison that this control scheme is basically Assassin's Creed because this is the Odyssey team, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think they at least use the same like assets and stuff, right?
Yeah, it's the same engine, and I think it is some of the Assassin's Creed Odyssey team because they've got like 2 or 3 that do them at any given point over. So like I keep going to like attack with Y, and Y is dodge, so I keep just going like dodge. And I'm like, no, what are you doing? No. So like at one point I was like, should I remap the buttons? And I was like, no, just learn to play the game.
Ubisoft's like released like 3 massive open world games in the past kind of month, 2 months. Is that kind of all they make? Not to kind of reduce what the studio's output, but is that pretty much
all they make? I mean, open world games, even if they're not
so many icons on a map. They like, because I've been playing Valhalla and then also Legion, and like switching between the two, you're like, these games are very similar in their kind of game design.
Used to have UbiArt games, and they used to make Rayman, and years ago we got Mario versus Rabbids. Like they used to make incredible games. Rayman Legends is the best 2D platformer in the last 10, maybe 20 years. I think it's up there with Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, and it's a masterpiece. And then they went, nah. And they made the UbiArt engine, which is incredible because we've got like Child of Light, Valiant Hearts, like this incredible hand-drawn engine. And then they're like, nah, we're done with making games in this incredible homebrew engine that we made specifically for our company. Who wants more 2D Rayman games?
Yeah, and the last time I checked, I'm not sure Just Dance is an open world game, but I'm sure they could probably make it into one somehow.
That's next, yeah. They're gonna something you dance through the open world.
I want Just Dance Go on your phone, where like different locations are different songs. You just have to dance in public in AR.
Yeah.
Why does this make me so uncomfortable to think about?
Pokemon Go Just Dance.
No, I don't want to see anyone dance. Stop. No.
It's just
going back into isolation.
Flash mobs everywhere.
No.
Oh my God, flash mobs Just Dance in public. That sounds amazing.
I do
not
to
so
remind me that
next year with a
Flash
Yeah,
vaccine.
not so good for COVID. Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh forgot about that.
Just
Everyone at a
just
2
dance
meter
super
distance.
spreader. It'll be.
Yeah. I need
Um,
about a 2 meter radius for me to dance anyway,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that works out quite good.
God.
Yeah, so let's move on to a game that I'm sure everyone's playing at the moment, Fortnite.
Nope.
No, well,
No,
straight
me
off
neither.
the bat, Anna's like, no.
It's just
Me
me.
neither. Me
I'll be quick.
neither.
I'll be quick then if it's just me.
So yeah, so season 5 has kind of kicked off after everyone kind of joined forces to defeat Galactus. So it introduces hunters from across pop culture, including the likes of the Mandalorian, and there's also a new quest system. So Nathan, have you been playing through the new season? Are you enjoying it?
Yes, so I love Fortnite. I will always defend it. Again, I don't want to bring up my age so much. I'm a 31-year-old man. I don't care that I love Fortnite. It's because it's a good game, and the way it does its like weekly targets and then it adds missions bit by bit is perfect. And the fact that I can play in handheld on my Switch at my partner's house, I can play my PS4 at home, and if I'm really stuck, I can play on my phone. Like, I think it's really, really good the way that they've made that ecosystem. So I loved the Marvel season. The end of that, the Galactus event, was incredible. That was genuinely like the scale of it and the fun of having, like, I jumped on with a load of the cross players guys. We had 2 teams of like 4 or 6 of us, and we just had a good time taking down Galactus in battle buses together. Like, that was so much fun. And that was, from what I can tell, way more like Marvel than maybe the recent Avengers game. It was really, really bright and colorful and celebrated Marvel, and it had all these great voice actors and performances. Like, God, who did the Iron Man? I don't know if it was Troy Baker or something, or maybe it was Nolan North, but it was very clear it was like a proper talent in all of it. It was a real event, and so now we've gone into chapter 2 season 5 with the hunters. So now it's all on like hunters from different dimensions. You unlock the Mandalorian as the first level of the battle pass, which is great. So you can get you can upgrade him with more Beskar as you level up. So normally as you level up to the level 100 of the battle pass, you get like new skins and stuff, and there is still skins, but you start with kind of like a raggedy Mandalorian like he was at the start of season 1, just scraps and stuff. But then as you level up, you get shiny armor and you get like new weapons and stuff, which is really cool. And if you get to level 100, you get Baby Yoda, which is
goals, obviously.
they know what they're doing. And
I think you mean Grogu. I think it's Grogu now.
Yeah,
apparently.
Baby Yoda's better.
See, I don't mind his name being Grogu, but I've seen so many people being like, I'm never gonna call him Grogu. And I'm like, that's his name, man. Like, and they've known that since the beginning. So we've just had Kratos officially revealed as one of the. So when you look at Kratos in the shop, he's got a little tag in the bottom saying Gaming Legends Series. So very clearly, there's going to be more about this. There has been a leak about Master Chief, which I don't want to attest to its validity 100% because there's been loads of really, really good leaks, but from fake leaks, I mean. But from what I can see, that would make sense. That means we get a Sony rep, we get a Microsoft rep, and Halo Chief to me makes the most sense. I don't want to see Banjo-Kazooie running around with a gun.
He's not really a hunter, is he? Yeah.
Yeah, I think Master Chief is going to be the Xbox rep, whether that specific leak was real or not. So it's going to be super interesting to think if we get a Nintendo kind of counterpart, because if ever there was going to be a game to do it, Fortnite is, whether you like it or not, the biggest game in the world still. And it's a really good game, and it's more kid friendly than something like PUBG or Apex Legends. Like, it's bright and colorful, and the weapons are kind of like, there's still weapons with like weirdly real weapon names, but like it is still meant to be a little bit more playful. So I think, and Nintendo have kind of loosened the strings of their IP, haven't they? Like they've stretched out a little bit more recently, been like, all right, well, we're gonna have a theme park, we're gonna make a movie. So I don't think it's like wild speculation that we might, because it's I think Kratos is down as like a hunter, and then obviously Master Chief would be a hunter, and if you connect the dots, then Samus is maybe what we would get, because I think she would make the most sense as a bounty hunter. Yeah, it'd be cool to get Link in there. I think he would fit. He's been in Soul Calibur, he's been in mental stuff. Like, obviously I don't think we're going to get Mario unless he's got his Mario Rabbids guns For me,
Yeah, that would also just really look cursed, I think.
yeah,
Like
especially
an elongated like Mario.
that's
Yeah.
it. He'd have to be tall enough to do like the dances and stuff because they're all rigged to do all of the dances, you know.
Yeah.
So it would be like the weird tall Mario.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
about Mario.
And
So
running
I'd
around with a
find-
rocket launcher as well might not be so Nintendo friendly. I don't know.
I would find it
Especially
really
their
hard
mascot.
to see Link in there as well. I mean, unless he had his crossbow that he would use for a gun, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Love that.
I don't know who else would be in it
There's-
apart from Samus.
Yeah, Samus, there's no doubt, is the one who fits in the
Yeah.
best.
And I
What
think-
problem is, yeah, I guess that her arm cannon. What do you kind of do about that? Is that going to be like a default?
Oh yeah.
You have different armor.
Yeah, in the X-Men kind of skins from the last season, a lot of them they had very specific weapons or tools that were specific to them, and they worked with that character. So like Storm had like lightning that also worked as a harvesting tool and stuff. So they've worked around this idea of like, well, this person would have to have this, you know. So I
Yeah.
think maybe Samus would be able to pick up a gun, but would also have like a special ability to use her arm cannon. And I think as well, Samus would be the perfect opportunity to push Metroid before we get any new games. Because we've talked about it before, like I still think we're kind of due a Metroid game soon. It's been about 3 years since Mercury Steam finished Samus Returns. It doesn't take 4 or 5 years to make a 2D Metroid, so I think if we were to get one, it's probably around time, and it's
It
probably
would be
been
the perfect way to get kids into Metroid.
exactly this.
Because
This is
think of how many people didn't know about Fire Emblem, and then they were in Smash.
Mhm.
And then suddenly everyone's like, "Oh, I know Martha and Roy and all of them.
And all the others.
I know Ike and yeah."
and Chrome and Lucina and
And
Like-
Byleth. And
and
the other
It's true
Byleth.
though. When you see them in your favorite fighting game, or in this case, shooting game that you play all the time, you're gonna just become familiar. I feel like I know Star Fox, and I've never played a Star Fox game. Early gaming
Yeah.
confession.
yeah,
I also think Zero Suit Samus would be a good fit for
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
for
100%.
Fortnite.
Yeah.
I think another important thing to remember as well is that Fortnite is owned by Epic, who are also the owners of Rocket League. And when Rocket League came to Switch, we got the Samus gunship. So I think there is precedent for this. I think they're
Nice,
very
yeah.
aware of the kind of fan base of Metroid. And it would be incredible synergy for a new Metroid game if there was one coming. So
A net positive.
yeah, I really hope it's true. And I think much as I'd love to see like Link or someone, I think everyone's right. It wouldn't look right, and Samus needs it and would be a good fit.
Well,
I also think that Nintendo letting Fortnite have Samus, maybe the opposite thing would happen, and maybe I know a lot of the Smash community hate the idea of anything Fortnite being in Smash, but I'm one of those Smash fans that I'm a greedy Smash fan. I just want everything in Smash. Like Smash is meant to be like the all-stars museum of the best video game characters ever, and I know how many people would hate this, but I really would like to see Jonesy in Smash, and I kind of think Samus in Fortnite, Jonesy in Smash, maybe they'll do a deal or trade or something.
It's like the NFL.
I wouldn't mind him as a me gunner skin, but I think I would be, and I'm not against it. Like, I'm really happy Minecraft Steve came to Smash, because Minecraft was one of the biggest games in the world, and I've played countless hours in it, and I love it, and I think that makes sense. I still, and I don't agree with all the people that are like, no, never in my game. Like, dude, it's Sakurai's game. It's not yours. Shut up. Like, he'll do what he wants, and you'll be bloody grateful that he's made you this game. But I will argue that point later on with a different thing. So I just realized what I was saying. But like, if we look at it in terms of that terms, I would be grateful if we got it, because hey, that's good. It's good synergy with the biggest game in the world.
The biggest game in the world.
Yeah,
it's like a cultural phenomenon, isn't it? It's like it'd be stupid
Yeah.
for Nintendo just to ignore it and not want to put their characters in that game. Want that game's characters to come to Smash.
I'd be upset to lose one of the final 4 slots to it, but also
really?
I trust Sakurai to make it fun, because so much work was put into making Steve a really good representation of Minecraft and being a really fun character. So if he thinks he can make it fun to play as, then I trust him.
I don't want to derail you too much, but sorry. What were you gonna say, Maheen? I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. I was just thinking, there's not really any rules to how the DLC comes out. And I was just thinking the only out of the last DLC pack, I think Banjo was the only character that wasn't Japanese centric. And for this next bunch of DLC characters, yeah, there aren't any rules. But if there were, then we've already kind of had like our non-Japanese character with Minecraft Steve. So I do think it is all the characters that aren't Japanese centric, like Doomslayer and Jonesy, there is a bit of a less of a chance that they'll get in. But my Smash heart is just clawing at anyone to get in. So,
Who do you think there's like a Japanese character that's gonna get in? Or
Yeah, that's kind of what I was gonna ask. Do you think there's someone who is gonna get in, or someone you'd really like dream person? Especially, I mean, Maheen kind of touched on it. Like Nate, you were like, "Oh, I don't want to see that." What do you want to see, or what do you think is gonna happen?
As someone who's a Nintendo fan anyway, all of my picks are basically already in Smash. So right now, anyone who we get is like a bonus. So, but as I said, like I just want Smash to become like on a even higher pedestal than it is. Like I just want all the biggest games in the world to have some sort of representation, and what better representation to have but with a character. That's why for Minecraft Steve, I was all for it. Like I love Minecraft anyway, but there's not really any specific character I want to see, but I would like to see maybe someone from like more adult games. I would love to see someone from Resident Evil.
Yes,
I think that would be pretty sick. Like I love the idea of like
give me
Pikachu,
Jill
or like a Minecraft thing, like one character, but then you can swap them palettes between Jill and Chris and all of that. And I just love the idea of like being Pichu and beating up Solid Snake. Like I just love all these worlds like colliding. So I want a few more adult games. Not adult, but like like Solid Snake and Resident Evil and all that. I would also maybe on the same line as Wii Fit Trainer, maybe want the lady in Ring Fit. That'd be I just love stupid characters like that. I mean, I'm never gonna be one of those people that wants a Tetris block in as a character, but I do love those funny stuff.
I'd rather a Tetris block.
What's the boss in Ring Fit? The dragon,
Drag
the
Owl.
buff dragon. Yeah. But maybe
he'd be good. He'd be, but he'd also probably just be good as like a boss enemy. Like you stole my number one with Resident Evil. My number one pick is kind of a cross Claire or Jill and Leon, with maybe a couple of alternate skins. But other than that, I'd love to see Okami or Amaterasu. I'd love to see Professor
I'd like
Layton.
to see him.
I'd love to see Professor Layton.
Okay, you're 2 and 3. I live for your number 2 and 3.
And I'd love to see Ryu Hayabusa from the Ninja Gaiden series as well. I think he would work. It would be weird to have 2 Ryus, but they'd make it
There's
work.
2 Roys.
Yeah,
it's like when you have 2 in the class, it'd be like you're Ryu A and you're Ryu S.
He'd probably be like ninja, like hero. It'd be something weird, wouldn't it?
The thing for Amaterasu, like, I just find it so weird when like a dog or like a 4-legged creature is in a fighting game. Like I know Amaterasu is in Marvel vs. Capcom, and I just remember being like Hulk and like picking up this poor dog and just going bam, bam, bam on the floor, and it's just like, oh, dog.
Well,
I
I guess if we were having like a
Ivysaur's got 4 legs.
If we were gonna have like a different Capcom rep, I wouldn't mind Phoenix Wright or something, but I don't know how you make that work.
I don't know how you would make him fight. Yeah,
but he's also in Marvel vs. Capcom.
He's in Marvel vs. Capcom.
What?
Like Fred or Frank, what's his name from Dead Rising is in Marvel vs. Capcom. They make loads of stuff work.
Very random.
What? Well, you guys remember when Sonic was a big deal? Oh my God, they put a non-Nintendo character in Smash.
Dude,
they put Sonic in Smash.
Can I tell you?
It was a big deal.
Can I tell you my story of the day that Sonic got announced for Smash Brothers? So I was checking the Smash Brothers blog every single day because I was an obsessive.
Me too, the dojo,
yeah, exactly.
The Smash dojo.
Me and my friends grew up playing Melee, and especially my best friend Dan. And I got a lot of Sega consoles before I got Nintendo consoles, other than the Game Boy. So I kind of grew up with Sonic more than Mario, but then went over to like GameCube and stuff. And obviously Mario got better with Sunshine and that. So I was just checking every single day. And then the day that Sonic just got no build up, just got dropped, like a new challenger is coming, I lost my mind to the point where I rang my friend Dan like repeatedly throughout the day. We went into town later on. This is how old I was at the time because we went into town to go out in a nightclub. before we went into a nightclub, we went into our local shopping center, went into the Apple store, changed the background of all of the iPhones to the Smash Dojo picture of Sonic.
Wow.
We changed our backgrounds to the Smash picture of Sonic. And then in the nightclub that night, we kept going up to each other and just being like, Sonic!
Wow, what free marketing.
Yeah.
Oh my
simpler
God.
times.
I mean,
That's
other people
amazing.
were trying to drink and meet people, and we were just like, Sonic's
Were you single at the time?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. He's fine now.
Oh God.
So kind of talking about characters, bringing it back to Fortnite, is there any kind of characters that we're saying Kratos is confirmed, Master Chief's rumored, Samus is maybe on the horizon, but are there any other kind of characters you'd like in Fortnite, hunter characters?
Well, now they've done the Mandalorian, so like TV and stuff is not out of the realm. So I want to see Dog the Bounty Hunter in it.
That would be
That'd be hilarious.
very left of field, but very good.
That'd be so good. And his wife.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be
Oh my
great.
God. That'd be so good.
What
I
about
quite
Bear
like
Grylls?
the Predator. Yeah,
Bear
Bear Grylls. The Predator, I think, would be quite a good
Oh,
one. You know,
See,
like
that'd be
camouflage
if
and
they
stuff.
started
That would
doing
be
that.
good.
Predator would be
That kind of
really
movie
good
stuff.
one,
Yeah. And if you could play as
Predator,
Arnold Schwarzenegger Dutch in that as well. Oh my
We're just going the Mortal Kombat route now.
yeah.
Get me a Rambo skin.
Oh yeah, all the major films. Yeah, I'd be 100%. I'd buy it.
People would love a John Wick because then they could play as Keanu.
He's in there.
He's in there.
Yeah.
Keanu's in Fortnite.
Yeah, John Wick. So there was one of the original skins looked so much like John Wick. They unofficially called it John Wick in the community.
Oh, really?
So when John Wick 3 Parabellum came out, they did a cross promotion with Fortnite to get an official Keanu Reeves style.
So there already
John
is
Wick
one.
skin.
Okay, well they're ahead of me then. Okay, fine. It's fine then. Cool.
Very sorry, there is already a John Wick skin.
That's cool. It's like Simpsons already did it. Simpsons already did. Oh, there we go. Simpsons. Okay.
Fortnite's
Maggie.
And I guess there's like a Monster Hunter movie coming out as well. I wonder if they'll do like a tie-in promotion with that.
See, that would be cool. And I guess
Hunter.
outside of Nintendo, Capcom is its own thing and it's big enough. Like Monster Hunter would be good. Oh, that's another Smash character I really want. Monster Hunter.
Yeah, because Rathalos is in as a boss,
Ex-
and then the guy isn't in it.
Exactly. I mean, it could just be Monster Hunter, and you just choose through 8 different skins. Or
I think
something,
he's
like-
in Marvel vs. Capcom.
No way.
Yeah, the Monster Hunter.
Oh man, yeah, no, I want that as a Smash character. I love Monster Hunter, and there's a new Switch game coming out in March, and they seem to be pretty well synergized with like new stuff. So maybe not the next one, but maybe the one after could be Monster Hunter. That'd be great. That would work well.
Yeah, I think that definitely. Yeah, they've got to do that. So it works too well to ignore that Monster Hunter Rise is coming out, and you can bring a character into Smash.
Not
One last character that I do want in Smash, and I think would be the perfect one to just finish the whole DLC pack with, is Waluigi. It would just shut all the fans up, and as a
Yes,
final,
yeah.
it would be a good final character.
I've thought this before as well. As a full stop on people being included in Smash Brothers,
Right?
I've thought Waluigi would be a real perfect. mic
Everyone
drop
is
from
here.
Sakurai of like, right,
The
leave me alone
final.
and never ask me for
Yeah.
anything again.
Yes.
I've done it. Shut up. Like, have
I feel
Waluigi.
Now that you said that, that's almost got to be the last character, or else it will be a riot.
Well,
No, the people that wanted Waluigi don't deserve him at all.
What?
I don't agree with the toxic side of the fan base that started.
It's not
like,
even. I'm not even a fan, and I feel like Waluigi. I feel like I would be a little like heartbroken for Waluigi after all this time if he doesn't get on Smash.
I love him as a character. I'd love to have him in it, and I think he'd be actually quite interesting the way he plays. But I think
Right?
the people that wanted him don't deserve him.
I see.
I
It's
think
out
there's a lot of other
spite.
people that want him.
Yeah, there is. There
It's
is,
out
I'm
of
sure.
spite. I see. Okay.
It's just become such a big joke now that he just has to. He just
Yeah.
has
Yeah, they
to.
can't
I think he'd
ignore
be
that,
great. You know, we had Piranha Plant above Waluigi, so I think Sakurai knows what he's doing in terms of like, you can have so many things, but you can't have
Hang on.
Waluigi.
Wait, hang on. Stop. I might just be. You can play as a Piranha Plant in Smash now?
Oh my god,
Are you
yeah.
joking me?
Bruh.
drawn in.
Yeah.
Piranha Plant was the first DLC character for
What?
Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Well, I don't have Ultimate
wasn't-
or the DLC,
it
but I
wasn't-
played
it
on
wasn't-
other people's. I'm surprised I missed that.
I've got the Piranha Plant amiibo behind.
I know there's amiibos for everything, but the fact
Yeah,
there's
you're
not
right,
always.
you're right.
You can play it.
So
yeah.
I what, bruh?
Yeah, Piranha Plant is a playable character. It was a
Before now I understand why people were so upset about Waluigi. That's like a slap in the face.
I think he was a pre-order bonus for the DLC Fighters Pass 1.
He
or
was.
something
Oh
like
my
that.
gosh.
Maybe I thought it might have been if you had the game very early when it came out. I think you got him for free, but
It's like
maybe I'm
playing as
wrong.
Diglett.
No, I think you might be right. Like with Mewtwo, with Smash Brothers 4, it
Yes.
was like if you bought the game within the opening window, you got this as well. I think you might
Yeah,
be right.
I got Smash Wii U and 3DS during the opening window, and I got a free soundtrack. That's what I remember getting with it. If you put them both on Club Nintendo, RIP,
Yeah, I did
you
the
get
same.
sent
Yeah.
you get sent the physical soundtrack.
Oh man, good times.
Club Nintendo used to be good. Yeah, no, that's a surprise to me. I thought I had my thumb on the pulse of what was going on with Smash, but that one got by me.
Well, let's talking about keeping fans happy, Nintendo being good to you. Let's talk about the Smash Melee kind of situation with Big House. They got the cease and desist on their kind of their Smash tournament, but Nathan, there's been like more developments. Like let's talk about that.
I feel like I'm taking up a lot of airtime in this podcast, but I will very briefly run through it so other people can talk about their opinions. So there was, and I don't think we discussed it properly before, but basically there was going to be a real life in-person Smash Brothers Melee tournament. And obviously the pandemic scuppered those plans. So what people decided to do was, and you can legally have a ROM of a game if you own it. That is the law. You're allowed to use your physical version and have a backup with a ROM. So what Melee players wanted to do was use a external piece of software called Slippy to host an online tournament with all of them having legal versions of Melee and legally owned ROMs. But Nintendo decided that they saw Slippy as something outside their idea of the law of how you would do this. So they shut down this entire online tournament in a year where the world has been ravaged by a deadly pandemic and there is no other options, which was already very unsportsmanlike. It was very cruel and it was unneeded in a year where people are suffering, and they played this 20-something-year-old game out of love. Is that old? You know what I mean? It's quite old. But they play this game out of love, and this community is still alive. This mental. This still alive from
it's not just alive, it's really thriving.
Exactly. And they decided to not even look the other way. They decided to actively discourage this. So basically this past week we're meant to be having a live broadcast of the latest Splatoon North American tournament or something along those lines. So it was an official, in a Nintendo capacity, online live streamed tournament. And in solidarity with a lot of the Smash Brothers Melee community, and also, the Smash Brothers Ultimate community, just Smash Brothers in general, quite a few of the teams from the North American Splatoon Open changed the names to something along the lines of Free Melee, Help Melee. It was basically names that supported the hashtag Free Melee movement at the moment, or at least other people tweeted their solidarity in a really, really heartwarming and honestly really good to see act of solidarity, because I do think Nintendo is being purposefully cruel. And Nintendo decided to just cancel the Splatoon live stream tournament. Not even cancel live streaming it, cancel the entire tournament, because they did not want to deal with these people showing their solidarity for the Smash Brothers community. And I'm honestly really, really upset with this.
It's shocking. It's shocking.
We're all here because we love Nintendo. I have built my life on the fact I love Nintendo, and I would happily work for them in a heartbeat. I would always get about for them. This is an unnecessarily cruel and vindictive way to act towards people that want a way to play their game when they literally don't have another option. The option is play Melee at home or death, and Nintendo is saying death or nothing. There's just no need for it. There's no need for it. And this especially this move to cancel the Splatoon tournament because of people rightfully showing solidarity is really, really upsetting. And I don't know how you guys feel about it. If you think Nintendo are in the right because it is their IP and Slippy is not official software, but like I don't know how anybody else feels, but I'm really disappointed.
No, I think I feel the exact same way that you do, and I think a lot of people do. It's so weird. Like Nintendo have been known to be a very butthurt kind of company in the past, but I think this is the furthest I've ever seen them go. It's like, who's in charge? It's like a angry little 12-year-old kid that's in charge
Hey,
or something.
North America, you have to remember Bowser's in charge now.
Oh
Yeah,
damn,
yeah,
yeah.
Well, pre-podcast, Nathan, you used the word petty. I think that's kind of what
Yeah.
you're getting at me. It's like, it's petty. It's like,
Yeah.
who's in charge? Some middle schooler, like, well, you're gonna do that. I'll just shut down the whole thing then.
Yeah, it's
Like, we
taking all
have
your toys,
other
you know.
options. There he is. We have.
I just remember them wearing a Bowser t-shirt.
Well, this is not the only way. You don't have to shut the whole thing down. Like, even though, notwithstanding the mistakes made with the original Smash tournament, the Splatoon situation could have been dealt with in so many different ways.
Mhm.
But it's very authoritarian just to say, we're shutting it down then. It's very authoritarian, is the word I'll use.
Yeah. The only things I'll say in their defense are the Smash Brothers player community has had better years. And we won't touch on it in this podcast because it is horrid, the things that have come up in light, and anybody who wants to find out can. And I do understand them distancing themselves from the Smash Brothers community. And also, we are probably due, we've just seen 3D All-Stars. That is built on new emulation software, and we are almost certainly imminent on new hardware and maybe an NSO kind of shakeup. So maybe like with the Samus 2, like the Metroid 2 remake that got DMCA'd right before we got Samus Returns, maybe we're seeing this right before we see a new Nintendo Switch Online where you can download Smash Brothers Melee from Nintendo's own store and it has online. Like maybe, but that doesn't.
If that happened, I would like give them a point, but I wouldn't give them the W.
Also, if it's anything like Ultimates, then I don't want to play it because unfortunately, no, it's Ultimates Online is absolutely awful.
Yeah, I remember.
It's absolutely terrible, and it's also irredeemably terrible because you look at the netcode of ARMS, which is perfect. You look at the netcode of Mario Kart 8, which is incredible. There is absolutely no excuse for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, especially when Nintendo have chosen this generation to start charging people for online services. I think it's absolutely unforgivable the way they've treated online players, and I don't have confidence in them making an online version of Melee. Whereas the Slippy software was one person working for nearly a year in their own time, basically full-time outside of their own job, to create a almost flawless online version. Like, I don't know if anybody's looked into the Slippy software, and yeah, it is without...
From what I was told, there's almost no, like, it is, you can play with almost no lag against other people around the world. I talked to someone who's very big into Smash, and he was saying it was incredible and did the game so much justice.
Yeah, that's it. And Slippy is doing more for Melee than Nintendo has done in the last 10 years in an official capacity. Nintendo refuses to endorse or encourage Melee at tournaments. It refuses to encourage or endorse, that kind of side of the Smash Brothers community, which again, I get because of the year we've had with the Smash Brothers community, but that doesn't excuse kind of this petty and vindictive attitude that they've taken this year. And like, how much would it have hurt them to turn a blind eye to this one tournament in a year with a pandemic? I don't think it would have hurt their IP or their relations anywhere near as much as Nintendo imagines things will.
Yeah, and I think with like with the stuff that's been happening with some of the weirdos in the professional Smash community scene, there are still loads of other people that play it apart from all that weird stuff that's been happening.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, even if there was a new Smash Melee online official thing coming out, in the past they had the mother-free translation, and they haven't stopped that. That's something that you can go out and get online, and they kind of know that they're not sure what's going to happen in the future of that game. But also, like, I remember there was another Earthbound. They were making an Earthbound 4, like a fan-made Earthbound 4. And for a long while, these fans were using the names of stuff that was in Earthbound. And I remember the Nintendo Ninjas cracked down again and were like, no, you can't do this, and they had to end up changing. I forgot what they changed the name to. They changed the name, a lot of the monsters and stuff like that. So it's basically like a new Earthbound game, but it's like a fan-made, non-official thing.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I forget the name off the top of my head, but
yeah, like, and other companies are doing it in a different way. Like we've talked before about how supported the fan community with stuff like Sonic Mania, which is the best Sonic game in years. And then we look at it like, I know, and I saw this comparison earlier, and it's very a weird comparison to make, but like there's a fan-made Bionicle game that like that Lego seeked out and said like, we're not going to stop you. In fact, we're going to support you. And it's never going to be an official Bionicle game, but they were like, you have our encouragement, and we're really happy fans are making this. Like Nintendo are actively very, very fiercely protective of their IP, and I get why they are, because of stuff like the Mario Brothers movie, like
but
that.
There's you got to think about the pros and the cons. Like, have you played Game Dev Tycoon? Any of you?
Yeah.
I played it pretty recently. I reviewed it, but there's like a one of the scenarios that pops up is like, oh, these fans are making a copy of your game and blah 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 blah. Do you want us to shut it down? And I'll tell you what, literally I'm going to spoil this little scenario of Game Dev Tycoon for you. And it's true. Every time I see it, I think about Nintendo. If you shut it down, what happens is you lose a bunch of fans and you gain like teeny bit of money. And if you do nothing, you gain a ton of fans. The fans personally reach out to you and say, we are so happy that you support us. And you gain money as a result of having more fans, like way more money. Yeah. So it's like IRL is so like, true. Yeah.
I think we see it a lot with, and there's a lot of Pokemon fan games, and what they generally are is wish fulfillment. People go like, oh, I wish I had these Pokemon, and I wish it was all in this thing. And these games try and fill these gaps and stuff. And obviously Nintendo are never going to encourage that. But I think sometimes it pays to look at like, hang on, why are fans making this thing that we haven't made? Why have they got such clear needs that we haven't satisfied that they're making it in their own time? You know, when it's a sequel to a game that's 20 years old, like Mother or something like that, then it makes sense. But when it's something that you have released Super Smash Brothers 2 years ago, why are people working full time outside of their own jobs to create an online version of something when you have an online Super Smash Brothers game? I think you have to look at yourselves then and think, why are people putting themselves through this when we have a product, and realize your failings? And I don't think Nintendo either wants to do that or publicly acknowledge it.
Mm-hmm. I think the problem as well is because they've kind of shut down the Splatoon tournament. They're just bringing more attention to how unreasonable they're being.
That too.
It seems like a stupid move.
Really made it so much worse, man.
And now, like with the next tournament, it's gonna happen again. I don't know what they think is gonna happen. The next Splatoon tournament, the next whatever tournament Nintendo decide to officially do, you better believe I'm gonna be one of those people that's gonna be like free melee.
They've created a monster, haven't they?
Yeah, it's gonna snowball. I don't know what they think's gonna happen.
Yeah, they've made this situation so much worse than themselves that they haven't even released an official statement. The tournament holders are the only ones that released I'm so sorry. The tournament holders are the ones that released the statement.
To you that much.
Giving him indigestion.
I'm
either cry or burp. I wasn't sure.
Annoyed about this. I am really annoyed about this. But they're the only ones that released an official statement because they had they'd received a DMCA takedown from Nintendo. So they were like, hey, we've received this. We are going to be legally prosecuted if we continue this. Whereas Nintendo have not come out and been like, this is why we don't agree with this. They have just not said anything. And I think, unfortunately, at this point in time, like, their silence is deafening, and when you include this shutdown of the Splatoon tournament, like Nintendo are now, they're a huge billion-dollar company. They make kids toys, they have kids games, but like they're a billion-dollar company, and the way they're bullying their own fans right now is just nasty.
Do you think it could honestly be Doug Bowser? Do you think if it was Reggie still in charge? Honestly, though, do you think if Reggie was still in charge, this would have happened? Like, obviously, I don't know who's in charge of what section of what part or whatever. But like, if that's the only difference between something like this happening from before.
I think these moves generally come from Nintendo Japan, but like, But they're the ones who are the most protective. Whereas, like, I think in the last year or so, Doug Bowser has actively courted quite a lot of the partnerships we've seen, like Puma, like Levi's.
He's
like
been
Lego.
welcoming this kind of stuff.
We've seen a really good spread of IP.
I just bought a Pokemon Black Milk jacket.
Yeah.
Don't ask me how much it cost.
Yeah, I just bought a load of the Pokemon clothing that was released on Zavi in the UK as well. Like, I think we're seeing a really good. But that's the Pokemon company. But I would love to see if we see, because Reggie's been announced as one of the presenters at the Game Awards.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him come up with like a free
Melee
pin. He doesn't work for them anymore.
Yeah,
He can do what he wants.
yeah.
It's just like, yeah.
There you go.
That would be
Perfect.
truly incredible. Yeah. That'd be the news of the night, really, wouldn't it? So let's draw a line under that, and let's talk about gamer confessions, because seeing as it's the
We're gonna get that out of our chest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sorry guys, that was heavy talk. I love Nintendo.
We're going to move on to a nice.
You know,
a nice
it needed to
light
be
thing now.
addressed.
Yeah. So seeing as it's the season of love and understanding, we asked some of our listeners to send in their gaming confessions. So we're going to read a couple out, and we can kind of talk through it and then decide whether they deserve absolution, salvation, or eternal.
See if Santa
damnation.
forgives you.
Exactly. So
have you been naughty or have you been nice?
So there's some very good ones. So this is the first one. I don't know. This may have been from someone from Switch Player, but they say, I write for a Nintendo website, but I've never.
Might be someone from Switch Player.
Yeah, it might be Switch Player, but I've never completed Super Mario Brothers on the NES. So what are we saying? Because is it if someone's going to write for a Nintendo publication?
It's tedious. It's tedious to complete.
It's hard.
Unless you're 40 years old and you were the perfect age when it came out. There's better games to play nowadays.
And you would have literally, exactly. It's better games. You would have had to go out of your way and go, like I had to one day and just be like, I guess I'm going to play through the first Mario game. Like, and why would you do that? Like, I haven't done that with Zelda. Yeah. and I claim to like Zelda a lot more than Mario.
The first
to be fair, first Zelda's really hard.
Yeah, the first time I ever completed it was with save states. I could never be bothered before because it's not a bad game. It's a very good game, but it's a game of the time. Those games were born of the arcade era. You were meant to be playing a game over and over and over, and you'd be lucky if you got to the end. You couldn't really get better. It was like. You know what I mean? They were like quarter devourers, whereas Mario was kind of like that, but just your time instead. So now, man, that game's hard as balls, and it's hard. It's really tedious to complete. So unless you've got save states,
that takes a lot to beat it without save states. It would be really hard.
So we're saying it's not if you're writing for a Nintendo magazine for a website, it's not a rite of passage where you have to kind of almost complete the whole holy scripture. It's okay,
especially
to not
nowadays where your people are younger and younger. Forget about it.
Whoever that is, you're forgiven.
So I forgive you, my son or daughter.
So, going off the back of that, what is the one Nintendo one Mario game that everyone has to play? You'd look down on someone if they were like, I've never played that game.
I'd say Galaxy.
Galaxy, okay.
That's how I just played Galaxy. A lot of people just play Galaxy with the new one, so I'm glad that came out. I guess I love
Sunshine. I'm not too sure. Maybe Sunshine.
Super Mario World.
I'd say 64. I feel like that's the epitome. That's what.
Did you say specifically Mario or any
Mario game? Like if someone was like, I've never played that game.
Now, if you're playing 64, you're playing the 3D games, and 64 is good, but almost every 3D game after it has bettered it.
I feel like if someone says I've never played Mario 64, wait, played or beaten?
Played or beaten, yeah.
I feel like if no one's played 64, that would be very surprising to me because it's on like every console. It's like, isn't it? It's on almost not every console, but it's on a lot of consoles. You can play it on your DS and your 64.
Yeah, I finished it on DS. Yeah,
I feel like it'd be a kind of a sin at this point to not have played that at all and not know what's going on with that game.
But the original NES.
I think Super Mario World is the best 2D Mario game ever. And I think it's the best 2D game ever. I think Super Mario World is like the epitome of a 10 out of 10 video game. So if anybody wants to start playing Mario, I'd say play that one.
Well, I've recently replaced the screen in my Game Boy Advance, the old Game Boy. I think I've got it here. I got the LCD screen thingy. So I'm looking for a bunch of games to play now because it's now backlit. It's because I've put it in. And I think I was looking at all the Mario ports that are on the GBA. So I kind of need.
They're not as good.
Are they not? Are they not just the same thing?
The Yoshi's Island one is kind of good, but like the size of the frame is a bit weird.
Yeah.
Other than like the e-reader levels with some of them, like there's not that much that's changed. Like,
Okay.
just play them on your Switch if you've got Nintendo Switch Online.
I do.
Yeah, I'd say just play the Nintendo, play the Super Mario All Stars versions of the NES ones, and then like just play World. I don't think the GBA ones are worth your time and money. They were a really good novelty when I was like 13, 14. I had a GBA, and I was like, oh my god, I'm playing Super Mario World. But nowadays, I'm like, I can play it for free over there.
True.
So we're saying if you haven't played the original Super Mario Brothers, it's okay. It's fine.
It's fine.
You know,
It's fine.
Don't feel bad.
It's good, but
forgive
it's
you.
tedious.
You are forgiven. Whoever that confessor was, you are forgiven. This is definitely one of our rights, because I said we sent out this form on our Switch player Twitter, and we said it was anonymous, but one of our writers, Matt Jarvis, signed his name at the end of these confessions, so we know it's him. So thanks, Matt, for letting us know who you are. But he was saying, I feel like we've all done this, but he was saying when playing FIFA against a mate who was much better than me a few years ago, I was losing, and he nipped to the loo, and while he was gone, I changed all his team settings and started winning games. Before I left, I reset them, and to this day, I've never fessed up as to why that day I was so damn good. So he said, please forgive me. Is that unforgivable, or have we all done
funny.
Unforgivable.
Unforgivable. Mine says unforgivable.
I think it's both funny and unforgivable.
Okay.
That's like playing Smash with someone, and sorry, I don't know why I always think of everything in Smash terms, but that's like playing Smash, and then like when they go to the toilet, changing all the button configurations, and then it's very smart. And you know what? I would have given it to him if he didn't say it. But now
I would have given it to him if he was young, if he was like a kid. You know, if Matt was like,
all of us.
If Matt was like young, like if he was like 22, I'd be like, okay, like that's young enough to where I still would be scared to fess up to my friend, because my friend might still be like, bro, I was so mad that day. But like at this point, dude, you can't go to your friend and just be like, yo, I cheated at FIFA. Like, all right, we're adults. We can do this.
This is not 20 years ago. This is a few years ago.
Yeah. Oh, a few years ago.
This is quite recent.
So Matt would have been in his 30s. Matt, I'm sorry. This is not okay.
No, still, I can't forgive this, my son.
No, if you were losing, get good.
Also, since then, have they not played again? Like, if it's just one match he's won between all the other matches they've had, then let him have one.
And, unless they were drinking, how could his friend not know? Like suddenly he came back from the loo and he was awful. Like, how would you not
so funny.
think
Maybe they
something
were.
obviously has gone up on here?
That could have factored into why Matt was bold enough to try such a stunt.
Maybe
Drinks
yeah,
may
yeah.
have been involved in this.
We'll have to
We're
get more
speculating, though. I call speculation in the court.
Yes, yeah, we'll have to get more evidence and background information. But hopefully, if Matt's friend is listening, let's get him to reach out and say.
Call in. We're gonna get the tea.
Call in, and we'll see if all is forgiven, or maybe he never realized, and now he's just realizing that he's been duped. Okay, so this is the next one. So yeah, someone says, whilst not my confession directly, I found out 23 years after being introduced to games as a 5-year-old that my dad never plugged in my controller when we played Donkey Kong together. And my gaming life has been founded on a lie.
So we're forgiving the dad.
Oh yeah, is this, it's a 5-year-old wanted to bond with his father playing computer games, and his father.
I guess
just,
the dad
was like,
the dad eventually fessed up, I guess, if he knows now.
Yeah.
Hey, look, like if you're a developing 5-year-old, do you want to see yourself dying over and over, or do you want to think? Yeah. Do you want to think that you're good at something and build up that self-belief?
Right.
I think it's better for your idea of self-belief to be like, you're doing so well, and build up confidence than it is to be like, you can't play this game. You're 5. You're an idiot. Pick up the controller. Why can't you press ZR and X at the same time, you idiot?
Also, it breeds resentment with your child if your child's just messing up the game.
Yeah.
Just give him a controller. Your dad's trying to bond with you in a way that works for both of you. I don't blame the dad for doing it, and I don't blame the dad for waiting 20-something years to reveal this information.
Yeah, as long as he still doesn't do it now, then that's fine.
Yeah, well, I don't think he would be able to get away with it. Hopefully.
On the flip side, though, maybe
wireless, you never know.
Yeah, maybe the dad just wanted to play computer games, and he's looking after his son, and he just wanted to play computer games. And
I want to play some damn backyard basketball.
By telling him he was playing as well, the kid felt included. Mate, yeah, is it? Okay?
I'm here for it. I love it.
Yeah. So I'm definitely going to do that with my son. Oh, you're doing so well. Yeah, just keep going. Keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. As long as they're happy.
Yeah, you're definitely Tails.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sure that's not what this person wants to hear, but I forgive the dad.
Yeah.
I forgive them, my son or daughter.
I have done that when I was playing I think it's new Super Mario Brothers U on the Wii U. I was playing with my nephew, and again, it was a computer controlled character, but I was saying it was him, and then his mum walked in and was watching. It was like, oh my god, like my son Nathan, he's incredible at this game. Like, I think he was only like 4 or 5 at a time, and I was like, oh, it's the computer. So I've done it. I have done this before. Yeah. So I've done it. I understand that where the dad was coming from, because you don't want to have to sit there and explain it. And yeah, like you say, the kid gets annoyed that he's not winning and he keeps dying. So
it's a net positive this way.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Build up confidence.
Through all of that, he still introduced his son to computer games and fostered that love for computer games. So it was all good in the end, right?
Yes. Santa forgives this.
Yeah, forgiven.
Santa is the judge.
Jew Santa forgive.
Santa forgive. That's good. Okay, so this one, this is Pokemon. I'm sure Anna will be very happy about. But I used to. Someone said I used to use a cheat card to complete the Pokedex for Pokemon games, and took the game to school and took credit for all of it.
I hate those kids.
Yeah,
those are the fifth graders.
This is
no. Turning this off. I'm leaving.
Rotter.
Quit the podcast. Just because that question, I'm offended.
Have we all been victims of this, where you've kind of gone to the playground and been like, "Oh my god, this guy's incredible. He's a completely
yes."
100%.
I got hustled. I got hustled on the playground so many times with Sapphire. Forget about it.
I remember when we had Red and Blue, I got my Charizard legitimately to level 100 because I didn't know the Miss and Go duplicate cheat, so you could duplicate your items until afterwards, because other kids were like, I've got a whole team of level 100s. And I was like, how have you got a whole team of level 100s? And they were just like, I've just duplicated rare candies. And I was like, what? But because of that, I had this one Charizard that decimated everyone because it was so much more powerful, because rare candies didn't level up as much as Right. So like I had this one Charizard that just ruined everyone, but I had one, whereas everyone else had like a team of level 100s. But I was like, you guys suck. Like, why did you take this away from yourselves? Like, when it just worked. But don't like it. Also, it sucks to get wonder traded a Pokemon that isn't legitimate. Yes. Because you can then try, because I've tried to build like competitive teams, or you try to enter a Pokemon in a tournament, and then suddenly like the game's like, you've got a stinker of a Pokemon, and you're like, I didn't know that. That sucks. It's like, and people do just duplicate or like get event Pokemon, so you kind of have to look out for certain Pokemon on wonder trades. So don't like it at all.
I hated when they would trade their shitty, pardon my French, Pokemon.
I had a similar thing. Like, I remember when I was younger, and my friend had an action replay, and I didn't actually want to use the action replay on my copy of Pokemon Diamond, because just in case, like, as you said, if I ever became a really good Pokemon trainer and entered a tournament and it said, oh, this Pokemon's fake or whatever. So what I did was I would get loads of TMs and get my friend's version of the game, put loads of TMs on his cartridge, trade my Pokemon over, use all the TMs of my Pokemon and trade them back. That's just in case smart. It was so long and so
I like that.
But I thought, just in case I ever get caught out by Nintendo, and since then I've never really even entered a Pokemon tournament or done anything like that.
You
never know, just in case.
Absolutely not forgiven. 110,000 over 9,000,000%. Not forgiven. I hate those people. I don't hate that person. I just hated those kids. I hated those children. They were the worst on the playground. They were mean. They'd be like, "Oh, come on, Anna, it's fine." I'd be like, "But my best one's like level 45," and they'd be like, "That's fine. It'll be okay." And they just want to make fun. And then you go in and they have 100 shiny laddie ass, and I'm like, "What is that?"
In this day and age, if you really want a Pokemon, either like catch it in Pokemon Go, which is super easy and convenient nowadays, or go on the Cerebi forums. It's full of lovely people that only want to help other Pokemon players. You've got no reason nowadays. I mean, I don't think you even can on the Switch without hacking.
That's not what they're confessing to, but I agree.
Yeah.
You actually can. There's like a Discord thing that you could go into, and you put in what you want, and I don't know how it works, but you get sent over a code, and you go on the wild area, you type in the code on the trade, and you just get it somehow. I mean, I don't know how you do it, but
sure. You sound like you've done this. You know, I don't know how.
I don't know how it works.
Sounds like some crazy magic to me.
Yeah.
I've got no idea how it works, but here is exactly how it works.
Here's my amazing team that no one will ever beat.
Cleanse our palate with someone forgivable.
So I this could have been me as well, but someone has confessed that they've never ever touched a Final Fantasy game, which I have never done either.
Oh, that's really easy to have done. That's so forgivable. So,
it's a niche game. It's fun.
It's very niche. Yeah.
There's
a lot of them.
Yeah. But like,
there's a lot, but they're not like in your face. I think my first one was really weird. It was actually on the Wii. It was Crystal Chronicles on the Wii. Yeah, I know. That's a really weird first Final Fantasy game. But I loved it so much. And I remembered seeing Flash videos with Cactar in them. They were Cactar and Tonberry. I don't know if that gives anyone like nostalgia boners, but that's a really old Flash video. So I saw that stuff in Crystal Chronicles, and I was like, "Oh, I know that from Newgrounds." And then I started playing 4. But like, if I hadn't just randomly picked up that game because I thought the cover art was cool and it was cheap, I probably wouldn't have been playing it today myself.
I remember back in the day, like Final Fantasies used to come out a lot more regularly, like when I was younger at least. And now they just like there was 15 and now the next one's 16. It feels like there's a bigger gap in between each of the newer ones now. Yeah. But back in the day, I remember it was a big thing if you hadn't played a Final Fantasy. And luckily now I have. But yeah, when it was like when the big ones were like 10 and 12, I remember like I did feel a bit like, oh, I've never played one of those.
I remember like at school 8 came out and everyone was talking about 8, how it was like a gun and a sword everyone had a guns and a sword at the same time or something. Yeah. And that was like I felt so left out, like that's all anyone was talking about on the playground. But I've never been one for games like turn-based combat. It's always kind of turned me off a bit. So that's always kind of put me off those kind of games. It never kind of like pulled me in or interested me.
Yeah. Also, JRPGs aren't for everyone. They're super grindy and the questy, and they have like cliches that some people just can't tolerate.
Yeah. The first,
I totally forgive this, my son.
The first one I played was Final Fantasy X on the PS2, and then I played the DS ports of Final Fantasy 3 and 4. And only recently have I gone back and played 7, 8, and 9 on my Switch because it wasn't a part of my journey along the way. But 10 is damn good. I'll tell you that much. That was my first PS2 game.
My first one was Final Fantasy 13, and I played that when I was in year 9, and it came at such a good time in my life because I was just like, I thought the story was so good. And before I even played any JRPG, I had played Pokemon. So to me, it was like, wow, this is Pokemon, but with a story and with people. And I just fell in love with the story. And ever since then, after 13, they started to come out a bit more spread apart. So it's a shame that happened. But I have gone back and played like 7 and stuff. And I think they are amazing games.
Mm.
So for someone who like me who's never played a Final Fantasy game before, what's the perfect one to introduce yourself to that series?
It depends.
Like if you want the quintessential classic experience, the first like old one I played, like I said, was 4, and a lot of people point to that one. Or 7 is like a little more advanced in that, but like 4 is like the little itty bitty sprite experience, and then you've got the more developed, definitely fleshed out and emotional experience, and then you've got like. And some of them can be played completely on their own. Like my first one was a Crystal Chronicles one, but I wouldn't recommend starting with those.
See, I'd say either 10 or 12. I think it's late enough that they are modern enough that you can really get into the characters and the music and the story, but also like because they're now ports of older games, you can kind of speed them up. You can, and if you want to get through, you can just kind of like use the options to like just blast through things, which is a really convenient thing. Like Final Fantasy 12, the Zodiac Age, which is the name of that specific port, added loads of kind of quality of life improvements, which made it really easy to get through. And I think I'm really happy that they're now realizing that JRPGs are a time suck. And I'm so happy people now are being like, you can speed it up, because I've been playing through Dragon Quest XI and I love that game so much because it's like, yep, 3 times, auto everything, go as fast as you want, do whatever you want, just
I knew
go
you
through
bring
it.
that up. Yep.
Because it's the best
It's
RPG
great
on Switch.
I have no problem with it. I'm just saying I was expecting it.
Yeah, so I think if you were to get into Final Fantasy, I think 10 and 12 are the most iconic characters in a most modern package. And once you've played those, you can go back and see the earlier ones for what they are.
Yeah, it really does depend what you're looking for. If you want an old school one, you play the old ones that are like a lot more pixely and stuff like that. They have their own charm to it. The newer ones are all about graphics. They look good, and I love the stories. And then the ones in the middle, I would say, are quite battle system orientated. I would say it really does depend what you're after.
Yeah.
So not the Final Fantasy VII remake. You think maybe?
Well, I wouldn't start with that.
No,
really? I would.
No,
Would
don't
you not
start with
say?
remake.
Why
You know
not?
that emote like this?
Yeah.
No, the Final Fantasy VII remake is built on the idea that you are a 20-something year Final Fantasy fan.
You've been a fan for a while.
That game is like The Last Jedi in terms of the entire theme of it is subverting your expectation
That's a
as a
really
fan.
good comparison. Wow.
So if you went into that fresh, it'd just go completely over your head.
100%. Like The Last Jedi doesn't make sense if you don't know the things that are being subverted, and Final Fantasy VII Remake doesn't make sense if you don't know the things that are being subverted.
Interesting.
The twist isn't a twist. Yeah,
it's incredible, but you need to know Final Fantasy and 7 specifically to for that game to land.
Personally, I played 7 earlier this year, knowing that the remake was going to come out, and I just had a feeling of playing something like a bit PS1-ish. So I played that, and playing the remake, I was like, oh, in my head, I was thinking the opposite of you. I was thinking like, oh, maybe I could have played this without knowing everything, because the story is not like a sequel or anything. It does start from the beginning. But yeah, I mean, I guess so.
Once you realize what it implies. You realize, if you're not a fan, you're like, what? It's just like that. Okay, cool story, bro. And if you know what is supposed to, you're like, I don't want to say anything and spoil things for people that haven't played it.
It's hard to talk about remake because even like nearly a year later, I don't want to ruin that.
Right. I don't. Yeah, there's such a thing as spoiling things that haven't just come out.
Okay. So we'll do one more, and then maybe we'll ask what everyone's confessions are. But,
sure.
This kind of feels like more of a hot take than a confession. But someone has said, "I think the Zelda series is overrated."
That's just an edgelord. What a loser. I think it's overrated.
For attention.
That's something that you could have. I could have seen someone saying and given someone a devil's advocate. Like, I could have been the devil's advocate in this conversation if they had said that when like maybe Skyward Sword had just come out and people had doubts about that. But even then, I completely disagree on so many levels. It is not overrated. It's defined the genre and continued to redefine it over the years. And every game stands apart. Every game is distinct. They play with technology. They play with graphics. They play with that in terms of puzzles. The only reason someone would say that is to be edgy and make themselves feel better about not having played the Zelda games.
Right. And also as someone that maybe like as someone who probably has never played a Zelda, not me personally, I'm saying if someone hadn't never played a Zelda, I can see how it might be annoying to constantly hear Zelda this, Zelda that, and whatever. But that it's for a reason. It's because it's amazing. Yeah.
And the fans aren't like, I've been hesitant about fandoms and kind of about fandoms because the fans are a little rabid. And like, for example, non-gamer confession, like I wanted to get into Doctor Who, and I didn't because the fans drove me fucking crazy. I
Oh,
can't stand the
really?
fans. Can't stand the fan. I made like one Facebook status about how I liked an episode.
You're
and
not a Whovian.
I made the episode of calling him Doctor Who instead of the Doctor, and they were like, "It's the Doctor," and I was like, "Okay, there's the door. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back to the Harry Potter fans who were nice to me. Bye. This is a horrible fandom." So I can see that, like, if the Zelda fans were rabid, but they're not. They're not. Zelda fans are fine. They're just like largely older group of and broadening group now, thanks to Breath of the Wild, of all types of people.
Mm-hmm. I don't know who needs to hear this, right? So you are allowed to think critically, and you're allowed to say something like Ocarina of Time can be improved, Breath of the Wild can be improved.
Oh yeah,
because we look at these things critically. But I'm going to tell a lot of people this right now. Being contrary is not a personality.
It's not
so
cute.
many people get attention on Twitter for being like, actually, I don't like Mario, and they get the engagement they want, and they think that's funny. No, shut
it's
up.
Not cute. It's not funny. It's
Shut
not
up.
cute.
Exactly. It's not cute. It's not funny. Anybody who can think critically can look. It's like when people are like, actually, the Beatles are overrated. But you know what I mean?
My
Like
Hebrew school teacher said that. I was like, first of all, I'm in 6th grade. Why are you bullying me over my music tastes?
but you know
Second
when,
of
like,
all, what? They were like,
when-
love me do, seriously? I'm
whether
thinking,
you
how old
enjoy
are
the
you?
game or not, you literally cannot be a critical thinker in the gaming sphere without acknowledging and understanding the influence that series has had. You cannot just be like, it's overrated, I don't like it.
Yeah.
You have to be like, no, this changed gaming. It changed gaming. It influenced games like Okami. It influenced games like Darksiders and so many others. And we have gaming as we have it now because of this series.
Yes.
You cannot just be like, actually, I don't like it because I think different to other people. Like, shut up, mate.
I watch Rick and Morty.
Maybe if it was like, if they
You have to have a very high IQ.
I feel like if they kind of pinpointed one game and said that game was overrated because it's the whole series.
Yeah,
It's
Skyward
like-
Sword. It's bad.
Yeah,
It's
that's
bad.
That
That's why
series
I
constantly
said
reinvents itself, doesn't it? That it's
I
like
could
you
see
can't
them
just say the whole
saying that.
series.
Right. You can't say that about the whole series. That's why I was saying I could see them saying that after a particularly controversial game came out, and maybe that they're saying that out of hatred for the most recent game.
Yeah.
But it's not only is that false, but it's false, and Zelda's in a really strong point right now. So sorry.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
not there's nothing to forgive because it's not even a sin. It's just a horrible take.
Yeah, it's like coming off the back of Breath of the Wild, you can't say the series is overrated because,
You can't.
We talked about Phoenix Rising. Games are copying that game because it was so good. You
Right.
can't say it's overrated. So does anyone have? It's a safe space. Does anyone have anything to confess? We won't judge you much.
I think I have one. So
Oh, my son.
as I've said, I'm a massive wimp. Like, I find even that sometimes the things that aren't even that scary. So I remember I was playing Twilight Princess when it came out on the Wii. And
God,
I got
that was so scary. I was so scared of the spiders.
But first of all, those what they called the black monsters with the long hair, and you're Wolf Link, and you have to like.
They're called like the Twilight or something.
Twilight Beasts or something.
Those were scary, and being Wolf Link was scary. But the point where I just drew the line was when you're in the Snow Castle temple place, and there's that lady who's like the Yeti lady.
Yes,
she's
the
like
Yeti
shaped
lady.
like a
Horrible.
peanut, and you go into you face the boss battle, and she looks in the mirror, and you're reading the text, and she just like 360 her head spins around like The Exorcist, and she's like, Bleh! I remember being so scared as a kid playing that. I turned off my Wii like instantly.
Really?
I just had like a spasm and just turned off my Wii. And
That's funny. I forgive that.
I never finished it up until I have never gone past that point until recently. I got the Wii U HD remaster, and at the minute I'm on the Sky Temple. But so I have gotten past it, and hopefully one day I'll have the nerve to finish the rest of the game.
Now that you've braved it again, I forgive that. If you said I'll never play it again, then I wouldn't. I forgive you, my son.
Yeah, I'm with you though, because I find those kind of games like I hate playing Resident Evil games, Dead Space games, because I find them too mentally stressful. Like I hate it's not an enjoyable experience for me. So I just never want to play those games because it doesn't feel like fun.
This is why I like this.
So I'm completely with you. I know
Those
like, how
beasts
you
Usually.
are so scary, and I can't even begrudge you being scared of that, because in the very first level, my friend who had already beaten the game and had given me the game to play, he was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go to the bathroom now," and I was like, "Okay, bye." He goes away, and I'm just playing through the first dungeon, like whatever, and then a spider drops from the ceiling, and he's laughing his butt off. He was just standing behind me. He wasn't going to the bathroom. He just wanted to watch me react without me knowing that he was watching me. Yeah, no, F that game and how scary it is. I love that game actually, but it's too scary for me.
Anyone else got anything to confess? Get it off your chest.
I guess I sort of confessed earlier I haven't played Star Fox, like any Star Fox game. I've watched my friend play it.
None
but
of
I've never.
them?
Mm-mm.
Wow.
Not because I don't like them. I just never got my hands on one.
Yeah, me neither. To be fair, I mean, I've played Adventures, but that's it.
Every time I see the cart for 64 at a retro store, I look at it, but it's always too expensive. But I watched someone play the one that was on GameCube, and I liked it. But it was one of those like your friends playing a single player game and you're watching them play it, kind of thing. Yeah, I've never played a Star Fox game. I was thinking about it. I was gonna say I've never played a Metroid games, but I have played Metroid Prime. I played it like way long ago. I didn't beat it, but I played it. So I think that's my confession, is that Falco and Fox I know solely through Smash.
Nice.
That upsets me, but I do get it.
I mean, they're just not. Again, they're not in your face, and they don't come out often.
They haven't released a good game in a decade or so, so you're kind of
3DS
forgiven
one,
there.
the 3DS one,
that was the 64 one.
Yeah, fair enough. They didn't even. That was like the Mario All-Stars version.
The last new good Star Fox game was Star Fox Command on the DS, and that itself was. This is my opinion, and that was a while ago. Like Star Fox Zero on Wii U was just upsetting.
Was that like a remake again? Was that like
no? It looks like 64, but it wasn't a remake. It was developed by Platinum as well. Like, but it just did this weird thing where you controlled the view of the cockpit with the Wii U controller, and then you also had to simultaneously control the ship or the tank. It was this kind of really weird control scheme that if you got into the rhythm of it, it made a bit of sense and it could be cool, but just like the Pokemon Let's Go horrid controller choices and other stuff, it was like
a gimmick.
It was like you didn't need to do this, and you could have made a better game if you didn't force people to do this. Like the barrier to entry was so high.
So it sounds like it's a little forgivable.
Yeah. I think you're fair.
I would say.
I think.
I feel so unburdened.
I feel like my one is a little bit worse.
No.
Well, it's not worse, but like, so my biggest gaming confession was that I grew up a Sega kid, and I feel like, I mean, obviously nowadays we're not going to be writing for Sega Player magazine, unfortunately. But like, I was a Sega kid first. The first console I had was a Master System, and then we got a Mega Drive, and then as we were moving along, I actively chose to get a Sega Saturn instead of an N64. So I had Virtua Fighter. There wasn't very many games back then either. So I had like Sonic Jam and Sonic. Do you know what Sonic Jam is? So like Sonic Jam is a collection of the older Sonic games, but to select them, you go around in this weird 3D world and you control Sonic in 3D to move to the old Sonic games. It's so bad. And I chose that over an N64, but then eventually I got an N64 much later because my friends had one. I saw people playing Star Fox, and I eventually got one with Banjo-Kazooie, NBA Jam, Turok 2, Rage Wars, Mario Kart 64, Pokemon Snap, Pokemon, and a few of those. But I didn't get Super Mario 64 or complete it until the DS version. That was the first time I ever played Super Mario 64.
That's a lot of people's first time playing it, but maybe for you that's surprising.
Yeah, and the first time I ever played the proper Super Mario 64, I think was either the Wii or the Wii U. I can't remember properly, but it was years later.
Wow.
How come
Yeah.
you never got it on the 64? Was it just you didn't really? It wasn't.
It
you
just
didn't fancy
wasn't
it,
a
or-
game I was asking for. I guess I was
Yeah,
either
yeah.
too young to really know what it was. I already had Banjo and I was enjoying that. Like, I think I just had games and I was fine because we also had I think at that point we maybe got a PlayStation as well, and all my friends started playing Tony Hawk's and that. Like, I just didn't really care about it. It was only in hindsight that I'm like, that is such a gap in my childhood that I didn't really realize.
Speaking of Tony Hawk, I've got a confession. So when I was younger, me and my brother used to share a Game Boy Advance. And for Christmas, I kind of splashed out. I think it was Christmas 2001. I splashed out and bought him Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 on the Game Boy Advance. But instead of just wrapping it up, but
Good game.
that was really good. But it was secretly I wanted to play it myself. So instead of wrapping it up and putting it on the tree, I played it. I bought it late November. I played it for a month on the Advance and hid it from him and just played it for a month before I wrapped it up on Christmas Eve and put it under the tree. And then when we opened it on Christmas Day, he was really excited, and I was like, "Let me show you how to do it." And I was absolutely incredible, and he was completely in awe of my skills.
He wasn't at all tipped off that there's no shrink wrap on it.
He was 12, 11 or 12 at the time, but yeah, it's
You
just
took them.
so
Wow!
good.
All
Yeah.
of the high scores, Alex.
Yes.
I was about to say there's a memory card. Okay.
I was very clever. I think I reset the game before I
Smart.
put it back, but
That
I
is
was
funny.
absolutely. I knew all the levels. I was just incredible at it, and he was completely
It's
ignored.
sneaky.
So
It's
yeah,
sneaky, but it's forgivable because there's
Thank you,
you know
thank
what? There's no victim here.
Yeah, I like that. That's frugal.
yeah.
Like-
I just really wanted to play it, so I bought it and passed it off as a gift for him.
You
so-
ever buy a gift that's so good you just want to keep it? Why not have both? Keep it a little bit and then give
Yeah.
it away.
That was the kind of game. I think it was just in a cardboard box, so I don't think it was any shrink wrap, so you could just open it up, take the game out, put it back in. Jobs are good, and so it wasn't no shrink
I forgive
wrap,
you for
no
that.
plastic
I
case.
think that's fair.
Forgive you.
Thank
my
you very
son.
much. Thank you. Yeah, I feel
Forgiven.
good. This is feel very, very cathartic. Just getting everything off our chest. It
Yeah.
was a very nice time. Yeah,
The spirit of Nintendo is in this place right now.
exactly. Yeah, the Holy Spirit, the Trinity. Right. Well, it feels like that's a perfect time to kind of end the week in Nintendo Land. It's been an absolute pleasure having you all on the show again. Maheen, where can we find you on social media? If people want to follow you, want to know more about your work, where can people find you?
I am on Twitter. I'm machine_Maheen. Maheen spelled MAHIN. And I am a new Twitch streamer, twitch.tv/Maheen the Machine. I hope I've done that correctly. That's one of the first times I've ever said my Twitch
there you
name,
go.
so I hope I did it
Yeah,
correctly.
you're Maheen the Machine on Twitch.
Maheen the Machine.
Yes. Yes,
Look
it
at
is.
you go.
And
I gotta
what are you going to
follow.
play next? What are you going to play next on Twitch? You got
It's
any games
funny.
you're getting
I'm playing on Mondays, which tomorrow I'm gonna. Well, by the time we're recording this, that's tomorrow. I'm
It's
playing
today.
Final Fantasy 13 on PC with loads of mods on. So if you want to know which Final Fantasy to play, watch me.
Very
And
timely.
And on Thursdays, I play Pokemon Colosseum. I'm trying to get that Ho-Oh. I'm doing the 100-person trainer battle of Mad Battle, and I've
That's rough.
purified all my shadow Pokemon. So I'm on my way to getting that Ho-Oh.
That's
Amazing,
awesome.
amazing. Yeah,
Nice.
so
Oh, that
check-
part of the game is grueling.
That sounds good. I think definitely people would check that out on Thursday. So yeah, make sure. Maheen the Machine on Twitch.
That is right.
Cool. Well, there we go. Thank you everyone for joining us once again and listening and watching. We'll be back next week. We've got a very special episode because it's going to be our Alternative Game Awards. The Switch Player magazine, they're doing their own game awards, but we're going to do our alternative take. So join us next Monday for that, along with all the latest news. So we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.